weighed in at 156, making a statement about his ability to fight even at a lighter weight. After a giant build-up and with a capacity crowd on hand at the MGM Grand Garden Arena, they got into the ring. Perhaps because of the height disparity, Oscar De La Hoya never made eye contact with Bernard Hopkins as they met at the center of the ring. Hopkins tried to search for eye contact with De La Hoya. It didn't happen. Now they face off at the center of the ring, and we'll see how well Oscar can use his left hand.
Oscar never makes eye contact with his opponents before fights.
So then he followed the pattern. First contact, a little left hook for Hopkins around the De La Hoya guard. Bernard Hopkins usually fights the first several rounds at a measured pace. He promised here he would start fast to try to put some pressure on De La Hoya and put some rounds in the bank. De La Hoya himself promised a fast pace as well. So, of course, they're staring at each other and tactically waiting things out at the beginning.
What's interesting here, Oscar's not moving in boxing. He's doing something that I don't think anyone expected. He's being aggressive for the most part, which I think is very smart. Saving his energy and making Bernard start anticipating and worrying about what he's going to do to Bernard.
Crowd is chanting, Oscar, Oscar, Oscar.
From the little we could see so far, Oscar has been beating Hopkins to the punch.
Well, that's one of the supposed advantages for De La Hoya is potentially faster hands. Hopkins with a chopping right hand along the neck of Oscar De La Hoya.
Well, outside of that one flurry that Oscar's shown, I haven't saw him do too much of anything.
Hopkins is trying to lure De La Hoya into taking the lead, and De La Hoya is.
And after all the talk about a fast pace, it only stands to reason that the first couple of minutes would be tactical. And now Hopkins begins to try to put a little bit more leather on De La Hoya and make the fight begin. De La Hoya missing with his first left hook. Did get in a little body shot with the right hand. Left jab lands for De La Hoya. Flush on Hopkins' face.
Hopkins appears to be more tentative.
Yes, he is.
De La Hoya.
De La Hoya has changed his strategy, much to the surprise of everyone here. And that one left jab may have won the round for Oscar.
Didn't take much.
Looking for jabs, looking for jabs, looking for jabs. Because what I want to see you do is jab more. The pressure's already there, so just jab, all right? Jab for me, everything's cool.
Okay, look. Again, he ain't doing nothing. His left hand begin to drop. You ready to drop too now? You can start letting your right hand over the top. Okay? Keep your jab, keep going. He ain't doing shit, man. You gonna beat this son of a bitch. You know what I'm telling you?
The right here, you see Oscar landed a jab over Hopkins' right hand, and that was just enough to win the round. It was the only clean blow that landed in the entire round.
CompuBox numbers in one. Both fighters threw 25 punches. Hopkins landing 5, De La Hoya 3. But, as Emmanuel pointed out, that one solid left jab from De La Hoya was by far the most demonstratively clean punch of the round. And if Hopkins promised a fast pace, maybe he didn't mean it. Or maybe it's just difficult for the Leopard to change his spots at age 39.
Well, I don't think he expected Oscar to be moving at him. He expected Oscar to be running away. And when Oscar's coming at it and actually doing little tricky movements and seeming to be in such a high alert position, it's got Bernard really tentative about being aggressive himself now.
So has Oscar already given Bernard something unusual to think about simply by standing in front of him and inviting him to fight?
Absolutely. I think not only just Bernard, the entire audience, none of us expected this.
Hopkins got in a little right hand inside. De La Hoya also with a little pop. Neither man has really connected on a power punch yet.
It's almost like this computer-style Olympic boxing right now. It's who can get a computer point. No one is really taking any risk at all at this stage right now.
Hopkins missing over the top with his right hand. They both miss with the jab. Floyd Mayweather Sr. is the loudest voice at ringside, saying, "Pump your jab right into his shoulder. Pump your jab right into his shoulder." Apparently, Mayweather Sr. wants De La Hoya to hit Hopkins on the left arm and the left shoulder.
At this stage, any hit he can get anywhere is probably possible to win a round, because it's one of these rounds is going to be the one person who lands one clean blow will probably win this round again.
Well, Hopkins just popped De La Hoya on the ear with a left hook. That may give him the lead in this round.
Hopkins normally fights these patient-type fights. Oscar's the one who usually comes out much faster, whether he's going aggressive or really going backwards. But this is a little different for Oscar to be fighting the pace that he's fighting.
And now Hopkins' corner has asked Bernard to throw more jabs, but Hopkins not yet responding to that entreaty. Right hand for Bernard Hopkins. There's a hard right hand over the top by Hopkins. De La Hoya hasn't done much down the stretch of this round, and now he lands a straight right hand. And now De La Hoya flurrying, lands another little left hook upstairs, and another left hand.
This is what I was speaking of, those flurries which Oscar can throw, even if they don't land clean,
and
he
the
can run
crowd
around.
responds a la Leonard Hagler 17 years ago.
Good. Good. Keep fighting at the pace. Keep fighting it. Keep fighting at your own pace, okay? You're doing good. Keep fighting at your own pace. Hey, you can stop his jab, pick his jab, and stick him sometimes. Because he's taller, and you can get in, okay? Counter over the top.
What's that? When you jab, he hypnotizes. He looks at it. Remember? Okay. Remember, then he'll try to jab with you. You can fire over the top like Boy said. But your jab make him hypnotize. He don't work until you stop it.
Once again, you see Oscar landing a punch, and even though I don't think it was that much of a devastating punch, it was enough to still win the round. Bernard was going away, but it was compared to nothing. It won the round.
De La Hoya with that last flurry in the last 20 seconds of the round may well have stolen it, in which case he could be up 2 rounds to love on at least some of the scorecards.
Hopkins said he wouldn't make the same mistake that Hagler did in allowing Leonard to win the early rounds, thinking he would retire late. Hopkins is now trying to outbox the boxer, which is the mistake that Hagler made.
And from what I can gather, and I may be wrong, don't seem as if Oscar's punching with really superpower, but he's still landing blows. I think Bernard should step it up and try to be a little bit more physical at this stage right now.
But Bernard Hopkins has been known to wrestle, to punch low when necessary. He's been seen as a guy who flirts with the rules in a lot of ways. So far, there's been little of that here, although moments ago he grabbed Oscar De La Hoya in close, and maybe we're going to see some of the roughhouse tactics, which have sometimes emerged in Hopkins' career.
Well, if he could take the fight, this comfortable fight here, just let his championship slide away.
Right hand over the top for Hopkins. The crowd oohs and ahs. De La Hoya tries to retaliate as referee Kenny Bayless breaks him apart.
The sneak right hand has been the most effective punch for Hopkins. His jab is just not really very effective.
De La Hoya with a left hook to the body after Hopkins missed over the top with the right hand. And here we go. Hopkins begins pulling De La Hoya into the ropes. Crowd responds immediately.
How Bayless handles that sort of tactic could well determine the outcome of this fight.
punches for De La Hoya. Bayless tells De La Hoya to keep him up, but the contact was there. De La Hoya blocking Hopkins' jab with his gloves. Not sure Bernard has done enough in the first 2 minutes of this round to ensure himself of winning round 3. He might want to try to put something in the bank in these last 50 seconds. There's a right hand, but that'll help.
But he's got to do more than that because no one is landing nothing clean. And when you have a guy with fast hands, he creates more excitement with the crowd and with the judges.
Hopkins misses again. De La Hoya gets a chance to land a little counter left hook.
There is no impression in this fight that Hopkins is the bigger, stronger man that he is supposed to be.
He's not imposing himself that way. He's not making it a physical fight. He's in there playing a war of nerves for the moment against Oscar De La Hoya. And De La Hoya, with his faster hands, is scoring more.
Even if the punches don't land that clean, he still is going to get the credit for it because they look better.
He's throwing more. He's throwing at the right times. He may not be landing much, but Oscar De La Hoya is fighting the fight that he wants more than Hopkins is right now.
Absolutely, and he may have 3 rounds in the bank.
Man's an old man. He's an old man right now, man. He's looking the worst I ever seen it. Man, look here. When you got him in the corner, he ain't doing shit, man. Break with the left hook right hand. You know how to do that. Break with him. I guarantee you're going to land it.
I know it's coming. I'm not scolding you. I'm just telling you what you need to do. You need to loop the shot. Loop it, baby. Put some juice on that shot.
You already took some of his right hands. He ain't shit, man. Just stay moving to your right. Move to your right.
All right? Keep jabbing, man. Keep your jab moving. As long as you're going forward and jabbing, you win the fight.
Get that shot to the
Take
shoulder.
a couple deepers for me, baby. Take a couple deepers for me. Deep again. You all right? Okay. Now you want to counter the jab, baby. Counter the jab and go with the loop.
Hopkins' punches, even though they may not create as much excitement as Oscar's, have much more damage and perfection. But the thing is, he's not throwing enough of them. He's throwing a punch and then running into a clinch at the same time.
You heard Floyd Mayweather Sr. say he looks like an old man. He looks like an old man compared to De La Hoya's quickness with his hands. That may be the story of the fight.
Well, how old is he getting? Is he down 30 to 27 on Harold Letterman's card? Harold, how do you have it so far?
What's your neck fight? 29 to 28, 2 rounds to 1. Oscar De La Hoya. Without question, I thought Oscar won the first 2 rounds with that jab. Bernard looked like he wasn't sharp at all, not snapping out any jabs like he did against Trinidad. On the other hand, in round 3, somehow or another, he came alive, landed a real good solid right hand that I thought did more damage. 2 to 1, De La Hoya.
Hopkins' left hook partially blocked by De La Hoya's glove. De La Hoya didn't get a chance to counter. Bernard was out of there. Hard right hand down the pipe, lands for Hopkins on De La Hoya's face. His best punch of the fight so far.
Yeah, but I can see Bernard has a lot more authority on his punches. Oscar, when he does punches, he's throwing that pop punch, and he's not really loading up on the punches.
And now Hopkins begins to go to the body. I wondered when he began starting to get to De La Hoya's rib cage. He's a good body puncher and has been throughout his career.
Hopkins is definitely picking up the pace. Not that much, but he's picking it up just enough where it's starting to give him a little edge in the scoring, I believe.
De La Hoya, in order to make big impact, may have to hope that Hopkins walks into something. But he gets in 3 good body shots there. And blocks Hopkins' upstairs stuff with his gloves. Now Hopkins gets 1 left hand through the guard.
He can't get away from it, man.
Left hook landed for Hopkins. De La Hoya with a body shot. Hopkins came back upstairs, left and right. They trade punches at center ring. De La Hoya landing twice below the belt. Kenny Bayless didn't see it.
But I think this is what Hopkins needs to do. Keep burying in, pushing him with his left shoulder. Even if Oscar's throwing punches, still pushing with his left shoulder and being very physical. And he'll drain a lot of Oscar's strength.
Bernard may still be somewhat surprised by Oscar De La Hoya's willingness to step forward and seeming willingness to trade with him.
I definitely believe that he's surprised.
Is continually beating Hopkins to the punch with the jab. Hopkins' most effective punches have been a sneak right hand. His jab has virtually done nothing so far.
Oscar De La Hoya told us 1 week ago in our live interview from Puerto Rico, he said, I'm not going to be running. I'm going to stand in there and fight with Bernard. Hopkins said, don't believe it. So far, believe it.
Not only fighting him, for the most part, he's been equally as aggressive as Hopkins has been.
A fascinating first 4 rounds. You are watching tape of De La Hoya Hopkins from a week ago. There's Roy Jones live in his dressing room as he prepares here in the FedEx Forum in Memphis, Tennessee, to return to the ring for the first time since being knocked out by Antonio Tarver. Tonight's opponent, Glenn Johnson. Like Jones, he's 35 years old. Johnson and Jones coming up live. Let's go back to Vegas on tape.
All right, baby. All right. Get a little closer to that jab, son. Get a little closer to that jab, baby. Give me my piece. You're getting a little closer with the jab. Come on, back here. What's up? Yeah, you went there. Oh, your head up here.
Bayless, we in that cup, baby. You working that cup. Gotta get these rounds.
You gotta take these rounds, son. Gotta take these rounds.
Bayless, we've been getting close to the body. We've been getting inside close. Let them punches go where I told you, all right?
Smart, man. You're fucking great fucking shape. I control this guy with your jab, Oscar. Your way long jab. Pick him up.
In those exchanges down there, it's very difficult a lot of time for the referee to see what's going on. But in this case, sure, he should have saw that because it was 2 low blows, and he was in a good position to see the blows.
De La Hoya did unto Hopkins what we expected Hopkins to do unto De La Hoya.
Through the first 4 rounds, Bernard Hopkins averaging 30 punches thrown per round. De La Hoya not much higher at 38 punches thrown per round. Both men relatively cautious, relatively self-protective, trying to figure out what kind of a fight it's going to be, trying to not to make a big mistake early.
I think one of the mistakes that has been made is definitely the fact that Hopkins' corner is not telling him that the score, what they think the score is, not just saying throw another jab, baby, you're doing this, you're doing that. You should tell him that the fight is close or that you're losing the fight and you're going to have to do something. And get a little bit more excited about what you're doing.
Good combination by De La Hoya, and then he got out of the way. 1 punch was blocked, but 2 landed. Now Hopkins holds him and hits him inside, and De La Hoya tries to get back at him with 1 left-hand punch to the body before they break apart. And 2 good De La Hoya left hooks digging into Hopkins' ribcage as Bernard jumped in. Bernard Hopkins has closed the distance now between himself and Oscar De La Hoya. And De La Hoya isn't backing up. He's standing in, ready to fight. Emmanuel, is De La Hoya gambling that Bernard Hopkins is going to get old overnight?
I just think that he's gambling that his hand speed is much better than Oscar, than Bernard had expected. And I don't think that Hopkins just is prepared for this type of fight that Oscar's fighting.
Now a grinning Hopkins begins to seem to warm to the task as he throws his jab much more frequently. Hopping De La Hoya with the jab. He landed a little right hand a moment ago.
And as I look at this fight, if Hopkins would just step it up a little bit, I see him winning this fight very easy if he would step it up a little bit. Because I think his physical strength, and I don't think Oscar has that much power in his punches.
What about Hopkins' length, his height, and his long arms?
Yes, all of that, but he's not using them enough.
Maybe it's because Oscar isn't letting him do it.
Well, I thought that in the beginning, but I think he's gotten a little comfortable right there, but I think he's just fighting too much of a... Well, he's fighting his regular fight. I should take that back. He normally fights these tactical fights like this.
Bernard Hopkins is patient. He's low risk. He cares only about winning the fight, not about pleasing the crowd.
What I'm wondering is, given the expectations of the fight, that Hopkins was going to be able to dominate De La Hoya with his size, that De La Hoya is staying in there unexpectedly. How will that influence scoring in close rounds?
Larry, I think that may be a big decided advantage for De La Hoya because not that he's landing so much, but it's so much more than what everybody expected. And as a result, the judges may have a tendency to start giving him rounds, early rounds that he may not even win sometimes.
And this goes back to the parallel between this fight and Hagler-Leonard. Ray Leonard understood the psychology of scoring better than did Hagler in that fight.
And that was Hopkins' best round simply because he was busier. And his physical strength is just so much more.
Take the flurry away. Take the flurry away, but drop the rain. Drops of rain. It doesn't come one at a time. Comes the drops of rain. Drops of rain. All right, you got to go back off that counter jab and know where it's going. You know where it's going. Let the shot go. Let it go.
Quit waiting. Quit waiting, man. Quit waiting. Ready, touch it. Quit waiting. You waiting too long, Oscar. Don't wait, man. You waiting too long, man. Move your head. Move your head. Move your head. Keep your jab busy, man. His legs is bad, man. Back him up with your jab. And if he's just sitting there right there posing, break on with the left hook right hand, okay? It's easy. Easy. Keep using your jab. I keep telling you, this one's going to win you the fight. Keep using it like a key.
The look on De La Hoya's face suggests that he doesn't think it's all that easy. Hopkins threw 49 punches in the 5th round, by far his high for the fight. He has started, as Emmanuel Stewart pointed out, to warm to the task as we reach round 6 of a scheduled 12.
And you may see his left jab become more of an important factor as the fight progresses on. It may be the most important punch between all of the punches that both guys may throw, because Oscar seems to lay in a lot and seems to be vulnerable to be hit with jab, particularly in the forehead area.
De La Hoya trying to seize the initiative now early in round 6. Gets in a body shot, short with the right hand, but it's been De La Hoya who's made contact early here.
We should mention here, after that flurry by Oscar, we see no signs that his lacerated hand is bothering him.
Yeah, I'll be very honest with you. I find it very difficult for someone to get a cut inside the left hand, having been a trainer all these years, and have 11 stitches. I mean, they just, to me, can't happen.
I was told that the cut actually could have been closed with 4 or 5 stitches. 11 was, in effect, precautionary, making certain that it wouldn't open during the fight. And incidentally, it's inside the left hand, on the palm, between the 2nd and 3rd fingers, near the knuckles.
One thing is certain so far, the mismatch that many people expected has not materialized.
Not yet, but Hopkins is beginning to make it rougher, and De La Hoya is stepping up to fight with him, and there's going to be more contact as these rounds progress.
See, now Hopkins is taking the lead, something he doesn't prefer to do, but he has to go after Oscar.
And he's doing it, I think, very effectively. Slowly he's becoming more of an aggressive physical fighter.
Floyd Mayweather Sr. keeps asking Oscar De La Hoya to throw a left hook and come back with a right hand. De La Hoya hasn't yet been able to marshal that particular combination exactly the way Mayweather wants it. Hopkins is doing what he's doing, largely one punch at a time here, though he had combinations in the last round.
But you see Hopkins is becoming very comfortable with himself now and with the way the fight is moving.
Bouncing on his feet, throwing more freely. De La Hoya got in the right hand there.
De La Hoya is missing most of his punches. They're fast, they're coming off not that much power, not really making that much contact. Hopkins is a little bit better defensive than maybe we're giving him credit for.
Oh, I think he's a great defender, and always has been a great defender.
But he's becoming more and more physical, more and more aggressive as the fight progresses. And even punches that he may not land solid, you can see him actually physically moving Oscar around the ring.
Chasing Oscar. De La Hoya managed to make a miss on all 3 of those. Hopkins gets in a right hand. De La Hoya with a little left. And the round comes to a close.
Hands up.
With your hands, with your hands up like that, okay? You smart, man. I'll smart him. Just let him come on and try to crush you. You back him up with your jab, up and down, down and up. When he crowds you, let your hands go. You feeling me?
ground.
All right.
Winning the fight.
Pick it up, pick it up.
They got to pick it up a little bit here. More with the jab, son. And don't wait for him. You got to put the punches there and keep it there for this round. Make him fight this round. Make him fight. Don't let him get away. Back him up. Make him fight.
Well, that's it, Nazir.
He laying outside trying to steal something, son.
We heard someone in Hopkins' corner saying he's winning the fight, and then you heard his trainer, Bowie Fisher, said, you got to back him up.
Power punches in round 6. Bernard Hopkins 10 out of 20, his highest totals for the fight. De La Hoya only 5 out of 18. Hopkins gradually building momentum in the fight and making more contact. De La Hoya seemed to win the psychological war early. The physical war is tilting toward Bernard Hopkins. Their CompuBox numbers are virtually even after they were even in CompuBox numbers against their one comparative opponent, Trinidad. Harold Letterman, how do you have it through 6?
Okay, Jim. 3 rounds to 3. 57-57. I got it even also. And attention, I thought that Oscar De La Hoya did steal round 6. Rounds 3, 4, and 5, like you guys have been saying, Bernard picked up the momentum. He was getting off the harder shots. Oscar was right in front of him to be hit. But in the 6th round, De La Hoya came along and stole it. Bernard was missing. 3-3, got it even.
I have De La Hoya winning the fight, 4 rounds to 1 with 1 even.
There's a hard right hand by Hopkins, flush on De La Hoya's face after De La Hoya had landed a couple good shots of his own. Bernard by far the harder puncher when they're in close.
And if you notice after all these exchanges now, Bernard, by bending his shoulder forward, is catching Oscar a lot with little punches as Oscar is pulling back, because Oscar's going straight back under the force of the weight of Bernard, and he's catching with those little tail-end shots after those exchanges.
For the first time in this round, Bernard Hopkins is beginning to physically punish Oscar De La Hoya, particularly in close quarters. But De La Hoya not backing off. Crowd trying to encourage their man. Hopkins lands the left hook. He was short with both right hands. De La Hoya lands the left hook.
Take it to the yard, boy. Take it to the yard. Take his common sense.
Bernard's one of those old school fighters who fights with his left chin post down to his chest, which means it's very, very difficult to hurt him with a punch. It's good chin because of where he keeps his head tilted all the time.
He strafed De La Hoya with the right hand. Oscar was able to come back and rip Hopkins with a little left hook. The harder punches by the middleweight, Bernard Hopkins.
Bernard's hand speed and reflexes is amazing. To me, it's equaling Oscar. Plus, he has more power.
This round kind of hangs in the balance. Both men have done some stuff in the round.
Well, I give it. That's the Hopkins round.
And now Hopkins lands 2 jabs solidly. At the end of the day, probably Bernard Hopkins' round. That was 1 week ago on tape in Las Vegas. The last time Bernard Hopkins lost a fight was 11 years ago in 1993 to that man, Roy Jones Jr. Jones won a decision over Hopkins when both were very different fighters. But now Roy Jones is 35, and tonight he must answer the question against Glenn Johnson of what kind of fighter he's going to be in the wake of his knockout loss to Antonio Tarver May 15. Jones isn't fighting Tarver again yet. He needs to make a statement against Glenn Johnson tonight, and that may not be all that easy. Johnson Jones coming up live. Let's go back to Las Vegas on tape.
Look at here, man. Quit the bullshit. I know you ain't. Put your arms up, man. I know you ain't fading on me now. You there?
Come on, you ain't great shape.
Well then, man, don't act that way then.
Give me a break when I say break, no rough stuff. That's the professional I know.
I need my jab to be stronger, son. I need my jab to be stronger. My jab is not strong enough for me. All right?
Okay.
I need my jab to be stronger than what it is.
Give me a clean break when I ask for a break. Well, you gotta see out the cup for me, man. Thank you, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, coming up. 8th round. It's already 8th round. Man, this is history, man. You've been at this
Go. Box, man. Use your jab.
All you gotta do is box. Here. Box your ass off. What is it? Walk to your right. I'll stay away from his right hand.
Both fighters landed some power punches in the 7th round. Bernard Hopkins by CompuBox count 11 out of 24. Oscar De La Hoya 7 out of 15. We go to round 8. The tactical battle, which we saw early, has abated, and a fight has materialized in the past 3 rounds.
I saw Hagler Leonard. This is not Hagler Leonard.
Not nearly as much activity. Hopkins backing De La Hoya up with the solid left hook.
And even when De La Hoya punches, I don't think he's affecting Hopkins much. The punching power difference is amazing. Even though the weight may not have been that much, but the punching power and physical strength is tremendous.
Bernard Hopkins, an amazing physical specimen, 27.5-inch waist, 169 pounds as he comes into the ring tonight. Left hook, the back of De La Hoya's ear, straight right hand down the middle. Oscar finding it harder and harder to block or duck Bernard Hopkins' shots. Hopkins has achieved that look of menace, which has typified so much of the last several years of his career.
I wish he would be more menacing, not just look menacing. It seems, Emmanuel, he's giving De La Hoya too much respect.
He's definitely giving De La Hoya too much respect. But this is just Bernard. He fights this take, but he's slowly, each round, taking more control of the fight still.
De La Hoya popped Hopkins with a jab. Pops him again with a jab. So Hopkins uses his left glove to bang De La Hoya's head around 3 or 4 times.
Well, that's what he said was going to be an effective punch, I believe, was the jab, because he saw Stern here being so effective with the jab in the late rounds.
He hasn't been as effective with the jab as Sturm was yet, but he's starting to throw it more often. De La Hoya reaching with a right hand over the top and missing.
Well, his ring generalship is better now. He's going underneath punches, pulling back, doing a lot of things that it's amazing for him to consider that Oscar, I thought, would be the better coordinated guy.
Bernard Hopkins is starting to be frighteningly accurate with his right cross and his left hook. He's hitting Oscar De La Hoya with virtually every power punch now.
And we notice at the tail end of the punch how he actually physically moves Oscar's entire body around, particularly with the left hook. Even if Oscar blocks it, it moves Oscar completely off balance.
Right hand over the top for Hopkins. De La Hoya was moving away, and De La Hoya is beginning to move away with greater frequency. It'll make it harder for Hopkins to land power shots. Good left hook for De La Hoya to punctuate the round. He stepped in, found an opening, and popped Bernard with a perfect left hook shot.
Keep the pressure on. Once you come back. The chips don't fall from the tree. It stays right there by the tree. Roll out and come right back. All right? Keep the pressure on him. The jab is going to do the job. The jab's going to get the job done.
It's my round.
All right?
It's my round.
Count him with the jab, baby.
It's my round.
All right. Count him with the jab. You got your right hand up to take that bullshit out of he's throwing. That shit don't mean nothing.
I'm telling you, the body, man, you need to go down here, man. Shoot some high jabs down there, or shoot a straight right hand, or good liver shot, all right?
Arms up.
Keep your jab a little bit more busy, okay? That's what's keeping you ahead of the game right now. Keep your jab busy.
Water.
Seemingly Bernard is trying to find out what the score is, and he's saying my round is my round, and his corner's ignoring it. They should let him know that he may be ahead, but it's very close.
Why is Oscar De La Hoya putting his arms up over Floyd Mayweather Sr.'s shoulders?
I have no idea. I've never saw this in my entire
I've never seen it either.
Nope.
It's as though he's trying to stretch throughout the fight.
I think it's much more of a strain on the person's body to be going through all of those physical exchanges. You should just let him rest.
Hoya with a good left hook inside. De La Hoya's face is beginning to show the damage from Hopkins' withering power punching display in the last couple of rounds.
But Oscar's ready to fight back, though. He may realize that maybe he's being overpowered, but he's not going to go down easy. Good right hand lead by Hopkins.
And De La Hoya got him a little left, but with not nearly as much power as Hopkins' right hand lead.
Come here.
And De La Hoya is saying, hey, don't bang my head.
Keep it clean.
And now Hopkins is fighting his regular Hopkins fight, which he's very good. He throws right hand leads a lot and then finishes up. Instead of coming back with a hook, bumping you with his body.
That's right. It's like a 1-2-3. Right hand, left hook, and then boom, the shoulder or the hip bangs into you.
Yeah, well, he does a lot of work with his body. And once again, notice where Hopkins keeps his chin always tucked in his chest.
De La Hoya trying to shoot the jab and score as Hopkins came at him. Hopkins grabbing De La Hoya with the left and banging him hard with the right. De La Hoya with another good left hook to the body.
And see, he's using his left shoulder.
De La Hoya on a body punch by Hopkins.
He didn't even see the punch.
He doesn't look like he's got.
He was pushing him in, getting
First
a left
time he's
hook.
been knocked down in 5.5 years, and he's not going to make it up. It's a Bernard Hopkins knockout of Oscar De La Hoya in the 9th round.
Oh, yes.
I think it was a left hand to the
Left hook
body.
to the body.
Looked like a left hook
He
to
didn't
the
see it,
body.
and no one else hardly saw it.
Well, if you saw Arturo Gatti knock out Leonard Doreen several weeks ago in Atlantic City, it was the same thing.
Same result.
A
Different
perfect
angle.
left hook to the body, and this one seemed to catch De La Hoya right under the rib cage, where it simply takes your breath away.
And if this was any other sport, we'd say time out. Some other player go in. You can come and sit down, Oscar. But in boxing, that's it. It's over, bro.
Oscar De La Hoya has never previously been knocked out, and he didn't expect it to happen tonight.
You can see the frustration as he pounds the canvas. He's never gone down like that. Previously, Ike Corte knocked him down with a big punch in their fight.
But in all fairness to Bernard, he was getting closer and closer and closer as the fight was progressing to scoring a knockout anyway. Whether it was been a body punch or a head punch.
Crowd isn't quite certain to what to make of this so far. Some of them probably hoping that referee Kenny Bayless will say, no, that wasn't a knockout. Keep fighting, but indeed it's over. And let's take another look.
Oh, good body shot.
That was the shot.
But it didn't seem like it was enough. It was more back on the back part of the rib cage and not so much in the volume earlier. It seemed like it shouldn't have, well, who knows.
Delayed reaction. De La Hoya clearly still reacting to that left hook to the body, and then he took a little shot on the head, but
No, the body shot
unquestionably it was the body shot that finished Oscar De La Hoya in the fight.
that he didn't see.
Well, I've said it many times, Emmanuel Stewart. If I can have one weapon to take into my next life, a good left hook to the body is the one I want. I
Especially
think it wins you more than anything else.
well, the effective thing about those hooks and the one that Gatti won was they didn't see the body punch. And as you see, Bernard is just being very physical at this stage right now.
An extremely frustrated Oscar De La Hoya, who lay on the canvas in a prone position and pounded his fist in frustration. The Mickey Ward liver shot wins it for Bernard Hopkins. Let's go to Michael Buffer for the official particulars on Hopkins' knockout victory.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Kenny Bayless counts to 10. The bout comes to a halt at 1 minute, 38 seconds of round number 9. The winner by knockout victory, and still the universally recognized, undisputed middleweight champion of the world, the pride of Philadelphia, Bernard, the Executioner Hopkins.
After the decision, Larry Merchant spoke to both fighters.
Congratulations, Bernard. It looked like you got into a boxing contest the first 3 or 4 rounds. What were you seeing? What were you doing?
Larry, to answer the questions, I wanted to show everybody that I can box, and that 3 or 4 years ago, you even mentioned that I'm willing to go down to 54 and box, but not now. But I came light. It was a big talk, and you heard about the talk about me weighing 156. What did I do wrong? My trainer walked up the plan, Bowie Fisher, and said, "We're gonna fool him. We're gonna come in a little above the junior middleweight, so you can be faster, you can be lighter, and you still have your power." We know ourselves, Larry, and that's why I was boxing earlier to figure Oscar out, to show that I could outbox him, Larry. And I think I did. I don't know if you agree, but I think I did.
Well, I disagree. I had Oscar winning most of the first of the early rounds, and it seemed that what was happening, at least to my eyes, was exactly what you said, that Hagler made a mistake in doing against Leonard. Did you sense that and turn it up? Because you were asking in your corner, am I winning these rounds?
Yes, I felt the urgency. And Larry, I told my trainer and cutman Leon Tabbs, is that around the 8th or 9th round, I said, am I winning this fight? And Bowie said, keep it up, push the jab in there. And I knew it was urgency, and Larry, I moved out on him.
So you weren't sure you were winning?
No, hell no, I wasn't sure, because I know Oscar was boxing a good boxing game until I had discovered.
What about him surprised you?
His movement and him coming out to fight me straight up. I mean, Larry, he didn't run. I give him a lot of credit. He didn't run. He didn't, try to look for a gift from the bodies of the boxing world, as far as the judges. And he came to box. I mean, it surprised me, Larry, but it didn't surprise me where I didn't have plan B, C, D, and E. I mean, I did have plan B, and you see it kicked in.
You turned it up in the second half of the fight. What did you see? Did you see something? Was he slowing down, or was it just you going harder?
I think it was just me going harder. I didn't see him slowing down. Matter of fact, I didn't see him take a break in the whole fight. I was trying to get inside and sort of like rough him up and put my weight on him to push him back to work on his legs, but he was a little crafty, little son of a gun. He was slipping and moving and holding, and when he was holding me, he was holding me like with a death hug, and he didn't let go until the referee came in. So he fought a smart fight up until then.
All right, now let's take a look at what happened at the end of the fight with the knockdown and knockout on a body punch. You describe it. I'm
setting him up with the jab. I believe I threw a jab, and then I leaned to the left and hit him right under the liver. That's one of the great body shots. Yeah, that was, and that right there, I heard like a wind come out, and then I went up with a little left hook. That hook wasn't too much damage, but the left hook was the one that really made him say, I heard like the wind come out of him.
It was sort of chopped liver.
It was a chopped liver with a little bit of sauce on it.
Roy Jones has said now that he's been knocked out by a light heavyweight. He's willing to come down in weight. Is it more possible that you two could get together in your next fight?
If HBO, Ross Greenberg, and Mark Tafferter, which I know they can put it together, I would like fight Roy in the drop of a dime and come back and do my last defense as a middleweight. Yes, Larry. If not, Roy Jones, bring on Tarver.
Thank you very much, and congratulations again, Bernard.
All right. Thanks, Larry. Thanks,
all right.
Oscar.
Here's Oscar De La Hoya.
Great champion.
Good champion.
All right, Oscar. You tell us what your thoughts were going into the fight. You surprised him by standing in front of him and trading punches and even beating him to the punch. What was your plan? What did you see? What happened?
Well, when I saw I can stay in front of him, my whole game plan, our game plan just changed, and just move alertly and watch for that right hand, and it was working, and he threw a good body shot. He caught me. What can I say?
You fought a lot of great fighters. Have you ever been hit with a punch like that? Was it a punch unlike anything you ever felt before because he was bigger, or did it just happen to hit you in a vulnerable spot?
He got me right on the button, and it doesn't matter how soft it is or how hard it is. When it's right on the button, I tried, believe me, I tried getting up. I couldn't do it. I couldn't, and believe me, I have what it takes to get up, and he caught me right on the button.
Would you want to take another look at it?
Of course.
Okay, we'll run that punch back again, because Oscar's only been really hurt one time in his career that I can recall, by Ike Corte. Never a devastating punch like this.
Oh, he's caught me. What can I say? I mean, I've been hit by that type of shot before, where it makes you make a noise like that. But when I tried getting up, I couldn't breathe, and those shots were just right on the button, and he did a great job, and I give him all the respect in the world.
Do you have any regrets at making this attempt at trying to climb this mountain?
No, I'm very proud of what I tried to accomplish. I knew I could have won. I could have won this fight. I know I could have, and he's a great champion. I give him all the respect in the world. He's a great middleweight champion, and like I said, I tried to do the impossible, and it just didn't come out.
Do you see any reason off of this fight to retire or to continue your career?
Larry, I was very surprised. I made it an easy fight for me. I didn't expect it to be so easy against a true middleweight like Bernard Hopkins, the best middleweight in the world. I love boxing, that's all I can say.
So that sounds like you wouldn't mind finding the winner of Mayorga and Trinidad, or perhaps Mosley again, or right down the road.
Well, I have no game plan whatsoever, and I haven't thought about it. I was so focused on this fight. I was such in the zone of beating this guy. Great shot, great left hook, all the credit in the world. May the best man win of Trinidad and Mayorga.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Larry.